Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to see how does a website actually load. Have you ever wondered what actually happens when you type a website address and press enter? In just a few seconds, a full website appears, but behind the scenes a lot is happening. Today I'll explain how a website loads step by step, from DNS to server to your browser in the simplest way possible. Let's start with the basics. You open a browser like Chrome, Safari, Firefox, or Brave and type something like www.google.com. This text is called a URL, Uniform Resource Locator, and here's the key thing. Computers don't understand website names, they only understand IP addresses, which look like numbers. So the browser's first job is to find the IP address of that website, and for that, it uses something called DNS, Domain Name System. DNS is used finding the website's address. Think of DNS like the contact list of the internet. You know someone's name, but your phone needs their number to call them. Same idea here. When you press enter, your browser asks, do I already know this website's IP address? If not, it asks your operating system. If still not found, the request goes to the DNS server, usually from your ISP, Internet Service Provider, or Google DNS. The DNS system works in levels. The root DNS is like the reception desk of the internet. Root DNS says, I don't know the exact address, but I know which place handles .com websites. Next is TLD, which is top level domain. It handles .com, .org, .net websites. Top level domain DNS says, I don't know the website's IP either, but I know which DNS server is responsible for example .com. So now it goes to authoritative DNS, the one that knows the exact IP address and gives it. Finally, DNS replies with something like www.google.com. Now, your browser knows where the website lives. Next, the browser connects to the server. Now that the browser has the IP address, it's time to talk to the server. Your browser sends a message like, hey server, I want the page of this website. Before data is sent, a few things happen. First is TCP connection. The browser and server agree how data will be sent, in what order, and how to handle errors. Next is HTTPS and security. If the site uses HTTPS, encryption is set up, if identity of website is verified, if data is secured. Once this handshake is complete, the browser officially asks for the website content. Next, server processes the request. Now, it's the server's turn. Server processes the request depending on the website. If it's a static site, server just sends files. If it's a dynamic site, server runs codes, checks database, builds the page. For example, checks user login, fetches posts, or loads product data. Then the server responds with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. This response is sent back to your browser as raw data. Then your browser starts rendering the page. This is where the magic happens. Your browser doesn't just show the page instantly, it builds it step by step. First, HTML parsing happens. The browser reads HTML and creates a structure like the DOM. Think of it as a tree of elements like header, sections, buttons, and text. CSS parsing happens. Next, CSS is processed to decide colors, fonts, layout, responsiveness. This becomes the CSS OM. Next is JavaScript execution. JavaScript can change content, fetch more data, add animations, handle clicks. Sometimes JavaScript blocks rendering until it finishes. Next is layout and paint. Now the browser calculates positions, draws pixels, paints everything on the screen. That's when you finally see the website. Next is loading extra resources. Even after the page appears, the browser keeps working. It loads images, fonts, videos, ads, analytics. Some load immediately, some load later. This is called lazy loading. This is why a page may look ready, but it still feels slow. So that's the full journey from URL to DNS to server to your browser and then your screen. All this happens in milliseconds every time you press enter. This is how websites actually load. And yeah, it looks like it is happening within milliseconds, but a lot of this process goes behind the scenes. So yeah, that's it. And I'll see you in the next one.